Out in Broomfield, where the foothills rise, there's a little place with open skies.
I'm Dr. Decibel, and this is The Refuge. Today, we're talking about transformation. Not the kind that arrives with fireworks, but the kind that takes years, patience, and people who are willing to stay. I'm joined today by Christina Price and Amber Lane, two women who have walked alongside this community for a very long time. Their paths look different, their work looks different, but both carry deep wisdom about what it means to grow, to change, and to keep choosing presence. This is a conversation about becoming new slowly, about learning who you are while serving others, and about how transformation often happens quietly until one day you realize you're standing somewhere you never thought you'd reach. Let's begin.
A wooden door, a welcome sign. It's more than walls, it's hearts combined.
Christina, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born and raised in Seattle area, went to school and undergrad there, and I've had the opportunity to live all over the world since then, since coming to Colorado in 2003. So I've been here for quite some time. I'm in healthcare, work in pharmacy in the transplant center here at the UC Health Hospital, and I'm really happy with the work I do there.
And my name is Amber Lane, and I moved to Colorado in 2001 after a short stint in the Midwest where I went to college and worked. My background is in chemistry and biology, and I have been working in pharmaceutical, medical device for 27 years. And I met Kathy and Mike before they started the Refuge. And in the transition, came over with them to the Refuge. So I've actually been with them from the beginning.
So, Amber, in a word or three, what does transformation mean to you?
I would say becoming new.
Christina.
Yeah, that's 3 words is hard. I think change through hard work.
Amber, let's talk about your journey. I know if you came all the way back from the beginning,
Yes.
then you've had a journey. You've changed.
I have. Yep.
You've transformed.
I have. Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little.
Yeah. So I decided that I was going to become a minister, a pastor. And I left the corporate world. I started my master's degree at Denver Seminary. And I started working for Kathy at the large megachurch. And at that time, I was her admin. I thought I knew what I wanted at that time. I thought that I really wanted to be a leader within the church environment. I was very passionate. I was leading the singles ministry there. And then a series of things happened there, which I won't get into. But at the end of the day, I decided that actually wasn't what I wanted to do because as a woman, I wasn't going to be allowed to lead in that environment.
Oh, and we've heard this story already in our series.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And Kathy, working for Kathy, I saw what she was going through as well as far as leading in that environment and the struggles that she had. I left and moved to California for a year. And when I came back, Kathy had started the Refuge with a couple of other individuals. And she's like, why don't you just come and check it out? Because I was done with church. I've been hurt really bad by my experience. And I had decided that, I didn't need this in my life anymore. I decided to go ahead and check it out because I love Kathy and she's so welcoming. And I just kept coming. I kept showing up. A lot of times, especially in the beginning, it still felt very churchy to me. And throughout the next several years, I would come and go. But eventually I was asked to be part of their board, which I served on for a couple years before stepping back from that, just because my job that I have to make money and support my family with was requiring more out of me than I could, continue to volunteer with the Refuge. And I decided to expand my family and start fostering children through Boulder County Foster Care Program. I had my very first baby I brought home from the hospital, and I had him for about a year. He was born addicted to opioids. So when I brought him home, I weaned him off of opioids, which is a whole big horrific experience for him. Got him to hitting his milestones. And then after a year, he was placed back with his mom. And kind of at this time, I didn't understand. I was very much of the opinion that going back into that environment for him was not the best thing. But the goal of the foster care system is to place children back in with their family. That's the entire goal. And that's what signing up. Kind of after that, I was like, there's no God. There's absolutely no God that would allow this little beautiful boy to go back in an environment that would be harmful to him. And within the next year, his parent ended up relapsing and having to go back into treatment. But by that time, I was already placed with another child. But it just reaffirmed that belief in me that there wasn't this idea of God that I thought there had been. And that really was the beginning of this transformation for me. Kathy's with me the entire time. And I just kept showing up, kept doing the things, whether that's just helping out, volunteering, kind of finding what I believe in really through the earth and what she gives us and what I can give back to her. And I feel like I'm the same person. I feel like my values are very similar. I just don't believe the same way that I used to believe. And I have a beautiful 14-year-old boy that I adopted from the foster care program. But that's kind of the big transformation that happened in my life over the last several years.
Christina, how about you? Do you have an understanding of transformation and a journey that you might want to share?
Yeah, I'd love to. So my journey is heavily tied to mental illness. It started very young. My mom died at age of 4, like a month after my 4th birthday. She committed suicide. She wasn't diagnosed, but in retrospect, we think she had bipolar disorder. So that was at 4. At 16, I was a sophomore in high school when the disease started to take hold in my life. And I became terribly suicidal. And this is where God came in for me. And kind of at the same time, I started a journey with Jesus, all of that, which has gone through a lot of transformation in and of itself. But very important at that time because I had pretty much made the decision or just come to the understanding that by the time I was 36, which is when my mom passed away, that I would no longer be here as well. And the journey of transformation that I've seen from that time to here, I'm 49 now, has been pretty remarkable because there's been these, like I was saying, signposts throughout my life of opportunities that I had to take hold of life. And the first one was in college and undergrad. I was born and raised, like I said, in Washington State. And there was a group of women that came around me. And for the first time, I felt like it was important that I was there, that I felt missed, that, and that's when I started a safe place to be able to feel like I could start working on myself and looking hard at these hard things, these things that I had told myself. And so when I came into the Refuge, I had a lot of this journey behind me. I had, like I said, traveled around the world, and the last place I lived was in Israel, where I was going to med school. And in med school, the stress of being in med school, the stress of living in Israel, probably had something to do with it, but I had my first, what they call a psychotic break, where I pretty much went crazy. I lost my mind, my worst nightmare. And it was there that I was diagnosed. And having that diagnosis was like, I had moved to Colorado because I had a care team already in place for me that I had met on Christmas vacation of my first year in medical school. It's just random. It's just like, but I had them here. And so when my dad had to come get me. And we didn't know where would be the best place for me. And it just made sense for me to be here. And so I was 27 when I came here in 2003. The next 5 years were probably the hardest of my life. I had attempted suicide 3 times in that time, been hospitalized numerous times. And I was doing okay, better. And a friend of the Refuge suggested that I come up here. I was living about an hour south at the time, living in a group home because I wasn't able to live on my own. I was from valedictorian in high school to like at that time having a 5th grade reading level, like definitely having to start and build my way back up. And when I entered the Refuge, it was this community that really embraced me, like that community in college of just like, you're important and we want you here and you have something to offer. And since that time, I fell in love, which I never thought I would do because I did not want to do to someone what my mom had done to me by leaving me so abruptly. But it was a sign that I wanted to live, and I felt that there was a life that I could live and would live past 36. So I married when I was 36 to my wife, Stacy. And through all this, the Refuge was there. Kathy was a pastor that got us married. And there's a lot in there of the Refuge and how we interacted and intersected. But that's kind of the overarching transformation that I've taken of wanting to die to living a full life. So,
in that, let's talk about the roles of safety and trust.
Yeah, very important. That's something, looking back on all of this, is something that was interwoven into all of my ability to keep going, keep moving forward. And there was times when I had no hope. And there were people in my life that literally said, I will hold on to hope for you because you don't have it right now, but you will. And I do now, and I give it to people who don't. And it's just amazing what having community can do for a person to be able to get them to a place of greater freedom.
Amber, you've been here for a long time. Let's talk about a time or some times when community support showed up when it mattered most.
I'm going to go back to the time when I was first starting to foster as a single woman with a full-time job and trying to take my first baby through the withdrawal of the opioids that we were transitioning him off of. I didn't have a lot of time for myself to even take a shower or anything like that. So I remember Mike and Kathy and several other people that were involved in the Refuge at the time. They signed up for kind of a come over, hold the baby while I take a shower and get meals prepared and just get a chance to kind of breathe. He was feed on demand and he cried all the time. And so it was so stressful for me to kind of be there for him 24/7 and not have that ability to just kind of take a break. And so they really offered that to me. They were present, they were safe, they showed up when they said they would show up, which for me was really important. And I would say just as I've continued to be a single parent for the last 16 years, it's the people from the Refuge, my chosen family, that continuously shows up so that I can be a good single mom, so that I know that if there's something wrong or if I need to just like take a break, somebody will come to my house and help me out. And so I think that's probably a pretty good example of just people showing up.
Christina, let's talk about how your journey helps shape the way you maybe help or approach others.
I just am thinking about the friendships that I have right now in my life. At some juncture, you're the youngest one at the job, and then all of a sudden you're the oldest one at the job. And I'm hitting that plateau right now. And so there's a lot of young people that are trying to find their way. And I find being very transparent in my struggles and my the good and the bad, that they feel safe to say, I'm struggling. My relationship with my boyfriend doesn't feel right or isn't right. And they can have a safe place to be like, okay, I see you. It doesn't matter what you do, what you say, but I'm just going to be with you in this. And I think a lot of people were that for me. And I have countless stories about how people in the Refuge, Mike, for instance, allowed me to live by myself for the first time. I hadn't felt safe to do so, but he let me rent the top of his house, and he was in the basement. And it was just enough separation that he was there, but he wasn't living in my space. And I will never forget that. Mike is a pretty incredible individual, as you've probably heard in and out of these podcasts. So.
And have seen.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. So to either or both of you, what do you think are some misunderstandings that people have about transformation within this community?
It's hard because we're such a healing community that I think from the inside looking out, I don't feel a lot of misconceptions. I don't feel that hits home. But possibly from various walks of life, we're non-conventional in so many ways and have been.
And so inclusive that you can't just say it's this one group or
Exactly.
or it's this one demographic or this one trait.
Exactly.
Because there are so many people that walk through that door that are from so many different backgrounds.
Exactly. So it's kind of like this menagerie of beautiful stories that we all have. So I just really think that I come back to that idea of being a healing community, and what that means and what that represents is varied. But I think there's like the true north that we have of just loving each other and where we're at. So
I would just add that I think as a part of a healthy community, setting boundaries and sticking to those boundaries sometimes really feels really hard for people, especially when they haven't encountered healthy boundaries before. It's hard to kind of say, when Kathy draws a line, or when anybody on the cafe team says, these are the rules and you have to follow them, and they're in place for your own personal safety, and people step over those or outside of those. I think that if they haven't experienced that level of accountability before, it might be really hard to say, not take it personally, right? To not be hurt by it, and to understand that it's coming from a place of love and a really healthy place. Like, we don't practice that very well, I think, in our society in general.
Less and less so, it feels like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But just really saying, this is what we need, and this is where we are, and this is how we're going to uphold these things. And so that might be a little jarring for people if they experience that for the first time.
How do you navigate setbacks with momentum? Because I feel like everything is just a setback waiting to happen, especially nowadays.
I can tell you. So I left Colorado in 2013. I was laid off of my job and I found a job out of state. And I had this beautiful community around me for 7 years by that time, I think. And unfortunately, when you leave a space physically, it's hard for people to keep in touch. It's hard to maintain those relationships. And in 2015, I was diagnosed with cancer. And at that time, as I've talked about, as a single mom, you don't have a lot of additional support. I wasn't living in Colorado. I didn't have the Refuge community around me. And I got really angry because I shared what I was going through with my family here. And there was a lack of support because I live a long ways away. It's not like it's just down the road, right? I lived in northern Wyoming at the time, and I was really hurt by it. And I was like, fine. You guys aren't going to show up for me. I'm done. I am done. I'm done putting myself out there. And I kind of said something to that effect in a text, I think, to Kathy. And she's like, well, I'm still here. Kind of like, I'm still going to show up, and I would just challenge you to try and stick it out and stay in it, right? And I think that's just a beautiful story of, in my setback, even when I wanted to run away and, fall back to some behaviors to protect myself that I've learned over my life, like don't engage with people because they're only going to hurt you. Her just continuing to show up, even if she couldn't show up in the way I wanted her to show up, was a really amazing kind of another transformation point. Like, stick with it. Keep showing up, even if it's not what you imagined it would be.
I think transformation becomes stronger when it's shared. Anything we're learning in this current season that we want to share?
It's just you have the choice to keep on moving forward and evolving. And I had hit a spot. My wife passed away in 2023. And I had gotten a really nice, calm existence. And then I had the opportunity to start dating again, this person that's connected to the Refuge. And I had a choice to stay in calm, but no, let's keep on pushing forward. Let's keep on learning how to love better, more deeply, in a different way. And it's been hard, but it's good too. I
feel like true transformation starts every time with discomfort and leaning into it.
Yeah, very much so. It's like you have a choice. You always have a choice. And for me, at the beginning of my transformation journey, it was life or death, literally. So it was intense. And it's not as intense now, but that intensity of way I live and the way I choose life is very intentional, because for me, it has to be. Because even though suicide has lost its hold on me, it's always walking behind me.
There's a shadow.
And it can be so far back you don't see it, and sometimes it's coming up and you feel it.
That's maybe when it's most dangerous.
Exactly. But so for me, I choose life every day. I choose love every day. And it seems trite almost, but for me, it's very simple, because I had to make it very simple, the crux of what it means to live. And it's just beautiful to be able to be in each other's lives. And I love that I was just at a house of refuge, which is at Kathy's house, something I've done from the very beginning every Wednesday, now every other Wednesday. But we have been through a hard time at the refuge and a hard time just our country in general. And we just sat down and we're like, we just keep on showing up. Like, it doesn't matter if we are for or against or where we fall on that spectrum, but it's like, no, we're in this together, and we're going to keep showing up. And I think that's what the refuge has offered me too.
I struggle leaning into discomfort a lot of the time for reasons, whatever, I'm inside my head. Amber, how do you kick yourself in the ass when you need to lean into it?
I might be a really unique person in that I thrive in discomfort. It makes my life really hard because I am a fighter. I am a challenger. I am not going to sit by and let somebody be hurt. I'm not going to sit by and allow somebody to manipulate me. I'm going to call them out on it. And it makes my life pretty hard because it's constant. I constantly feel like I'm fighting something.
People don't like to be called out. That's just all there is to
No,
it, especially nowadays. Christina, how do you kick yourself in the ass when you need to lean into discomfort?
Oh, God.
Because you seem more like me, like necessarily I don't go looking for it.
No, I am definitely a go with the flow kind of person, like walk into a room and see where people are at and kind of get in that groove. I just have learned to do it so often, and it's familiar almost.
Reps.
Yeah, because you're talking about setbacks, and I've learned to think of myself as going up that mountain and going down a little bit, but you're always going up. And so I've learned that it's always temporary. And I say that hesitantly because it's hard to think that, this extreme moment that you're in, it won't last forever.
Everything is temporary. That's what I remind myself of. Even the good stuff, it's temporary.
Yeah, you hold on to it.
The bad stuff is temporary. It's all temporary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it makes you hold on to it and appreciate it more for what it is. But yeah, I have a tattoo on my farm that says hope because I need to see that every once in a while and just look down and be like, nope, this is what I've chosen. And there's roots there that are part of the refuge and my family, everyone that's supporting me in this journey.
Transformation rarely announces itself. Most of the time, it's only visible when you look back and notice how far you've come. Listening to Christina and Amber, what stands out isn't a single moment of change, but years of commitment to people, to places, to work that matters. Their stories remind us that transformation is built through consistency, humility, and the willingness to keep showing up even when progress feels slow. At the Refuge, becoming new isn't something you do alone. It's something that unfolds when community stays present long enough for growth to take root. Thank you for listening to episode 6. I'm Dr. Decibel, and this is The Refuge, a place where transformation is lived, not rushed, and where becoming new happens together. Wherever you are in your own process, you're not late. We'll meet you here next time.